Unitarian Universalist Church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love, a love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service.
Arise, O souls, arise.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Sean, and I'm a member here at All Souls. And whether you are here in the room with us or you are watching online, we are very glad that you are here with us today. Your presence enriches all of us and our time together. For those that don't know, we are a Unitarian Universalist congregation. Our tradition, see, it's like this big tent, but there's enough room for all the beliefs and all of the approaches to the questions that matter. Our values of justice, inclusion, and compassion are strong and are what keep us together. We seek to build the beloved community, making room for everyone and creating a world where everyone's needs are met. You may be new here this morning. Welcome. We understand your first time attending a church, you'll just want to keep a little quiet. That's fine. We are simply glad that you are here with us today. And again, your presence enriches all of us. Whoever you are, whomever you love, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Whether you have laughter or tears in your heart, you are welcome here. You're invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today. First-time visitors and visitors who have not been gifted a lunch from us, please be our guests for lunch today. You need only pick up a ticket from the welcome table in the lobby to have lunch as our guest. We look forward to making our acquaintance and sharing conversation while baking bread. This afternoon, you can join the Board of Trustees in a town hall meeting for a discussion of the proposed fiscal year 2026 balanced budget and progress on two other board goals for the year, connecting through service and identity and transformation. Immediately after the service, you can grab a quick lunch in Conover, which benefits Carver Elementary. For our visitors, you can turn left as you exit the sanctuary and go to the end of the hall. After finishing lunch, members wishing to attend the town hall meeting will return here to Bragg for the meeting. Today, Reverend Leslie Mills, again, graces our pulpit. Please help me in welcoming her today.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be back here with all of you again after a year and a half away. I'm just delighted. So for our opening words today, I'm reading from Rebecca Edmiston Lang. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes, for here you need not hide, nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, and the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place.
We light this chalice in celebration of joy, the flickering flame of a candle, a flame that shimmers, dances, that cheers, the flame that heartens and encourages us in hard times. It is the welcoming flame of this community. Please stand as you are able and join in the affirmation of our covenant. Then remain standing as we sing together in song. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth and love, and to help one another.
I get the delight of leading a time for all ages. So if we have any people who are young or young at heart who would like to come closer and gather on the floor, you are welcome to do so. But we will also have some opportunities to practice from your seats here. I have a few exercises we're going to do. Not like exercises, but like some little activities. So come on up if you want. You are absolutely welcome to come on up and gather around the floor here. We're going to be talking a little bit today about when you think we are more powerful. Do you think that we are more powerful when we're tense or when we're relaxed? What do you think? You think when we're tense? Oh, when we're relaxed. Oh gosh, that can be a tricky question, can't it? So I have a couple of things that we're going to try out together to figure out, are we more powerful when we are tensed or when we're relaxed, okay? And those of you who are still sitting in chairs, anyway, I guess you're all sitting. I'm the only one standing up right now. Huh. So, there's this thing I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to take your hand. Everyone take a hand. and spread your fingers out nice and tense. And we're going to shake it back and forth as fast as we can. Shake it back and forth. Shake it. Oh, nice and fast. Nice and fast. Notice how fast your hand is going. Do you see it? Okay, you can relax now. Okay, so that was number one. Number two, we're going to take our hand and we're just going to let it relax. Let it be nice and almost limp, right? And then we're going to start shaking it. Can you shake it faster? Can you shake it faster? Can you shake it? Oh my goodness! Look at those fast hands! I can hardly see your fingers. Oh my gosh! Okay, I can't see your fingers. They're in your sleeves. So, oh my goodness, your hand has disappeared too. Well, you're right. I can't do anything about that. But for those of you who do have hands and who were shaking them, which one was faster, when you were tense or when you were relaxed? Okay, and are we more powerful if we're slow or if we're fast? Fast. Okay, so does that mean that we're more powerful when we're relaxed? Wow. So well, you're right, we have to experiment a little more to really be sure about this. So I've asked Sean to come up and be a volunteer. We have a couple more things that we're going to try out here. And in fact, when we were practicing, I had Sean try it out on me. But then I flipped the script on him, and I let him know that I'm going to be doing this on him instead. He just learned this morning, like less than half an hour ago. He did this for the first time. So I'm going to come over here. And this is going to be interesting with a handheld mic, but we're going to figure it out. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Sean to reach his arm out. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend his arm to his shoulder like this, but I'm going to need both hands to do it. So we're going to do this 2 times, okay? And I want you to guess which one is going to be the more powerful one where Sean is stronger, okay? The first time we do this, Sean is going to tense up his arm and think, "You can't bend my arm." And then I'm going to try to bend his arm. The second time, I'm going to ask Sean to relax, and then I'll try to bend his arm again. So think about which one do you think is going to be stronger, okay? Which one do you think is going to be stronger? I'm going to put the microphone down, and we're going to do these 2 experiments on Sean's arm, okay? Do you think that was a pleasant experience? No. Do you think that was something Sean would want to do all the time, every day? No, probably not. So now we're going to try it a different way. Sean is going to do the same thing with his arm, but this time I asked him to pretend that someone that he loves just walked through that door. And this could be a pet, this could be a grandparent, this could be anyone that you love, right? So I asked Sean to pretend someone that he just loved walked through that door, and his whole heart just went, "Oh, yes, hello, welcome, I love you," right? So, because this is a feeling that you've had before, right? No. Never. You've never had this feeling before. Well, don't worry, that's what you're here for. We're going to work on that. So, go ahead and reach out your arm as though you were about to welcome someone you love. Your whole heart, everything that is in your heart is just flowing out through your arm. And I'm going to do the same thing. And notice how Sean responds this time. So was that the same or different? Who looked like the tired one that time? Do you think I could have kept that up all day? No. Nope. So the second time Sean was relaxed, the first time he was really tense. In which time was Sean more powerful? When he was relaxed. So now we're going to do one more, okay? This time, I'm going to be touching Sean right here. He's going to be standing here in good posture, both times. But the first time, he's going to have a really tense mind. He's going to be thinking, no, you can't push me over, okay? And then the second time, he's going to relax, and he's going to say, oh, welcome, friend, okay? So physically, he's doing the same thing. Physically, I'll be doing the same thing. But the first time, Sean's going to be tense. And the second time, Sean's going to be relaxed. Ooh, and this time I only need one hand. So, a nice posture. You can even come on up on your toes to find that nice balanced posture. Come on down, settle. There we go. And the first time, you're thinking about me. Oh, no, you don't. All right? And we have this experience right here. Oh, did that look stable? Did that look strong? Did that look powerful? No, but it sure looked tense, didn't it? Right? So this time, come on up on your toes. Let the weight of your whole body just settle right down between your big toes. Nice and relaxed. Nice and relaxed. And when I touch, you think, oh, welcome, friend. And relax, like really, 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 yeah. There you are, there you are. And, okay. So, which one looked more powerful? When he's relaxed, right? Number 2? Exactly. So this is the power of relaxing. A lot of times we think that we need to get angry or we need to get upset, we need to get tense, we need to resist because that's going to make us more powerful. But what did we see today? We saw the opposite, exactly. So we saw that there's actually a lot more power when we relax, when we extend to people we love, when we connect, and when we say welcome. So, with this in mind, let's relax and have some joy in our hearts as we sing you all out to your classrooms today.
Good morning. I'm Anna Sajovic on the All Souls Board and a member since 1991, and I'm honored to serve as a Board of Trustees. Every time we contribute our dollars to this church community, we are sharing our gratitude for the inspiration that All Souls is to so many of us, finding our own spiritual path, surviving the challenges of everyday life together. I, like many of you, find peace and comfort knowing that All Souls is always there for me as a respite and a source of energy. I'm truly grateful for all my involvement in church and believe that All Souls deserves our support. Today's offering will now be gratefully received.
We dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build respectful, caring community, to inspire personal and spiritual growth, and to create change toward a just and compassionate society.
Good morning. Today's reading is from Joyful Wisdom by Yonggi Mingyur Rinpoche. He writes, I was told by a student that an influential person had called the era in which we live the age of anxiety. Why? I asked him. He explained to me that, according to this philosopher, 2 bloody world wars had left a kind of emotional scar in people's minds. Never before had so many people been killed in warfare, and worse, the high death toll was a direct result of industrial and scientific advances that were supposed to have made human life more civilized and comfortable. Since those terrible wars, he went on to say, nearly every advance we've made in terms of material comfort and convenience has had a shadow side. The same technological breakthroughs that have given us cell phones, supermarket scanners, ATMs, and personal computers are the basis for creating weapons that can wipe out the entire populations and perhaps destroy the planet we call home. Email, the internet, and other computer technologies that were supposed to make our lives easier often overwhelm us with too much information and too many possibilities, all supposedly urgent and demanding our attention. The news we hear, he continued, online, in magazines and newspapers, or on TV, is overwhelmingly unpleasant, full of crises, violent images, and predictions of worse to come. I asked him why these reports focus so much on violence, crime, and terrorism, rather than on the good deeds that people have done and the successes that people have accomplished. Bad news sells, he replied. I didn't understand that phrase and asked him what he meant. Disasters get people's attention, he explained. People are drawn to bad news because it confirms our worst fears that life is unpredictable and scary. We are always on the lookout for the next terrible thing so we can perhaps prepare against it, whether it's a stock market crash, a suicide bomb, a tidal wave, or an earthquake. Aha, we think, I was right to be scared. Now let me think about what I can do to protect myself. As I listened to him, I realized that the emotional climate he was describing wasn't all that unique to the modern age. From the 2,500-year-old perspective of Buddhism, every chapter in human history could be described as an age of anxiety. The anxiety we feel now has been part of the human condition for centuries. In general, we respond to this basic unease and the disturbing emotions that arise from it in 2 distinct ways. We try to escape, or we succumb. Either route often ends up creating more complications and problems in our lives. Buddhism offers a third option. We can look directly at the disturbing emotions and other problems we experience in our lives as stepping stones to freedom. Instead of rejecting them or surrendering to them, we can befriend them, working through them to reach an enduring, authentic experience of our inherent wisdom, confidence, clarity, and joy.
So I'd like to start by bringing us back to that time for all ages. Many times in our lives, we think that in order to be strong, we need to tighten our muscles, or in order to be powerful, we need to resist what we don't like with tension. And sometimes we tense up our bodies, but we also tense up our minds when we get angry or scared. We lose our sense of connection to other people, and this makes us weaker. It disconnects us from our empathy, and therefore our humanity. There's a lot happening these days that might be causing us to tense up globally, nationally, locally, even personally, and I'm sure that I don't need to list examples. As humans, we are wired to want predictability so we can experience a sense of safety. Knowing what to expect tells our survival instincts that we're allowed to ease up on our vigilance, and that's what we associate with relaxing. However, we live in a world that is constantly evolving and changing. Despite our instinctive longing for stability, changes abound. Even as we monitor our relationships and our communities for proof of either safety or disaster, the reality is that everything is in a state of flux all the time. The proof we are seeking doesn't exist. So it's no wonder then that we run the risk of experiencing the times we live in as a unique and particular age of anxiety. But as we heard in our reading, every era of humanity has believed that it has some kind of entirely new experience of stress, crisis, and dis-ease that was never dreamt of by previous generations. And it's worth noticing that regardless of the cause or the context, the embodied human experience of fear and anxiety has remained the same through the ages. Anxiety is something that builds up in our minds and in our bodies, causing us to carry a lot of tension. Maybe we need to remember to bring our shoulders down from our ears sometimes. Our nervous system can't tell the difference between hearing something deeply upsetting and being physically chased down by a tiger. Our nervous system does not know that there's a difference. And so our bodies get primed to help us survive, tensing up in order to physically fight or run away or freeze in place or placate the aggressor. And sometimes we get stuck in these responses for so long that we don't know how to release the tense survival state and return to a state of ease. And we begin to associate this tense survival state with being strong, with enduring. But today, with our children, we got to see that we are actually much stronger when we relax. When we can relax, we can be faster and more powerful, we can reach out to others and feel connected, and we can keep our balance even when we're being pushed. In short, when we are experiencing true living relaxation, we can move with ease and perform with confidence. So, what can we do in order to experience more ease and relaxation when the world is in such turmoil around us? So I'm going to invite us to try another small practice here together. You can do this with your eyes open or closed. I just want you to take a moment to acknowledge something that is upsetting you in some way and giving you an experience of turmoil. This might be something from the news, or it might be something very personal. It might be in this congregation or in another community that's part of your life. Just take a moment, a brief moment, to feel the turmoil that this is causing you. And now, without lingering on the situation, see if you can simply accept that you're feeling turmoil about it. You don't need to agree with it, or give in to it, or let it run roughshod all over you, but see if you can just accept that that turmoil exists, that it is the reality of your experience at this moment. And if you can't quite bring yourself to accept the turmoil, if you find yourself resisting that turmoil, pushing it away, or feeling some kind of way about it, then see if you can accept the fact that you can't accept the turmoil right now. Or, if even that is like, no, I should be able to accept that I can't, then See if you can accept that you can't accept your resistance to accepting the turmoil, right? Like, however many steps back you need to go to find some modicum of acceptance to the reality of the situation. See if you can reach that point, and notice how that little bit of acceptance changes your relationship to the turmoil itself. It is the turmoil and the situation, even your feelings about it, are allowed to exist. It is part of your reality, and that's okay. This practice is one way to cultivate peace in the heart, which is a critical skill for being able to navigate the world that we live in. Cultivating an embodied sense of true living relaxation over time gives us infinite chances to practice what it means to be human, within whatever committed gatherings of other humans we so choose. I've seen these gatherings in congregations, like this one, of course, but also in a wide range of other traditions: Christian, Sikh, Jewish, Buddhist, indigenous, pagan, humanist, and more. I've seen people deeply cultivating their humanity in martial arts schools and yoga classes, and even in public schools, in hospitals, and out in woods-based nature programs. There is no end to the list of potential places that you might find a group of humans who want to deepen their sense of meaning and connection. The trick is finding a group who sticks with it long enough for the transformations to occur. And this can be challenging because it is also within human nature to want to avoid any sense of suffering. We do not like suffering. And when we are engaged in this deep work of examining ourselves on a deep level, it's inevitable that things will get bumpy and uncomfortable as we start perceiving things within ourselves that had previously remained comfortably unconscious, things we may not like seeing about ourselves. And when these bumps occur, we often feel great anxiety and distress at first, until we develop the skills to navigate it with more grace and compassion. We don't want to experience suffering ourselves, but we also really don't want to see another person suffering. That's compassion, right? And when we don't have the personal grounding of some kind of spiritual practice that lets us operate from this place of relaxation and connection, we often react to another person's suffering in ways that aren't actually as helpful as we might think they are. Because rather than truly alleviating the other person's suffering, we are actually trying to alleviate our own discomfort at witnessing their suffering, right? And this only serves to create more separation and distance between one another, rather than the connection that we're actually seeking. So, it is only by working through our discomfort in the company of others who are also working through their own discomfort that we actually get to experience the deepening of relationships and the strengthening of connections within our communities, which is something I think we are all in sore need of right now. So it is quite common when we experience these places of discomfort as we cultivate peace in our hearts to associate the discomfort with suffering and step away from the practice or from the community altogether until the discomfort eases. But this does not resolve the discomfort. It simply allows it to drift back into our subconscious, where it then manifests in other ways, such as through anger, shame, tension, grief, depression, anxiety. The great Persian poet and Sufi mystic, Rumi, has some wisdom to share about what to do with this in his poem, The Guest House, translated by Coleman Barks. This being human is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all. Even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture, still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. Rumi practiced Islam 800 years ago, and the universality of his teaching resonates with the 2,500-year-old Buddhist tradition that we heard about in our reading, which tells us the anxiety we feel now has been part of the human condition for centuries. In general, we respond to this basic unease and the disturbing emotions that arise from it in two distinct ways. We try to escape or we succumb. Either route often ends up creating more complications and problems in our lives. But Mingyur Rinpoche tells us that there's a third option. We can look directly at the disturbing emotions and other problems we experience in our lives as stepping stones to freedom. Instead of rejecting them or surrendering to them, we can befriend them, working through them to reach an enduring, authentic experience of our inherent wisdom, confidence, clarity, and joy. To be human is to be aware of what suffering is. It is our humanity that moves us to alleviate that suffering. To be human is also to be endowed with the capacity for the awareness of time, past, present, future. And so we run the risk of holding on to the suffering of the past, anticipating the suffering of the future, and thus being stuck suffering in the present moment far beyond any true suffering we are likely experiencing at any given time. We're really good at doing this to ourselves, aren't we? I know I am, speaking for myself. Curiously, this capacity for mental and emotional time travel is also what gives humans the ability to learn. We have found ways to carry forward wisdom from the past and project a vision for a future that we want to build, and then take steps in the present moment to use that wisdom to create the future we're dreaming about. So the same capacity that brings awareness of suffering also gives us our ability to hope. And without the capacity for both suffering and hope, joy and grief, we wouldn't be able to love. And the ability to organize our love on a vast scale, to create citywide, statewide, nationwide, or global actions of love in defense of the most vulnerable is a human characteristic, which we usually call justice. We are inextricably bound to one another, not just humans, but to everything in our environment that supports our living. The concept of independence is not based in reality. We are utterly dependent on the natural world to support our life force through food, water, and air, and we are interdependent with the animal kingdom for our physical, social, and emotional needs. As Martin Luther King Jr. said in his book, Why We Can't Wait, we are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And we are seeing that in spades these days, aren't we? So how might we apply these understandings to our daily lives? If we have a strong understanding of our humanity, of what humanity is, why it's important, what it means to us, then we have strong armor protecting us from rhetoric and propaganda that tries to polarize us by telling us we would be better off without certain groups of people. Because anything we hear that carries the intent to divide us is seeking to negate our humanity. We are living in a world where dehumanization is being codified into U.S. policy and law. And while there isn't a lot that most of us can do to stop it at that level, there are some things we can do. We can work on cultivating peace in our hearts. We can strengthen our relationships and our communities. And we can pay attention to stories. It matters what stories we give our attention to. Every story that exists floating around out there has a purpose attached to it. That purpose may be to activate us or to soothe us, to offend us or affirm us, to harm us or to heal us. As Mingyur Rinpoche's student pointed out in our reading, the news we hear is overwhelmingly unpleasant and disasters get our attention. But is that how we want to invest our life energy? Consider the importance of where we place our mind. And when I say mind, I'm not talking about our thoughts, our education, our emotions, our intellect. Those are actually all parts of our embodied experience. When I say mind, I'm talking about attention, intention, and attitude. Attention, intention, attitude. These are the three aspects of mind. We use the senses of our bodies to have an experience of the world. And we are often having lots of thoughts and feelings about that experience, whether we like it or dislike it, whether it's pleasant or unpleasant. We cast judgments about our experience, and we tell stories about our experience, both to ourselves and others. A terrible thing just happened, we might say. Or maybe, oh, because she did this, that's proof that she loves me. Neither of these things are a direct experience. They are an interpretation of an experience, a judgment or a story about an experience, but they are not the experience itself. But our mind is what leads our experience. At any given moment, we can check in with ourselves about our attention, intention, and attitude to get feedback about the state of our mind. Where is our attention? What is our intention? And what is our attitude? As soon as we can answer those three questions, we are immediately aware of the state of our mind. And as soon as we are aware of it, we have the power to change it instantaneously. It does not take work or effort. You just change your mind. So when you hear a breaking story on the news, where does your attention go? I'm willing to bet that it pulls you away from wherever you physically are in the present moment, and your embodied sensations probably aren't terribly relaxed. And then how does that news story shift your intention? When you're suddenly confronted with an update on current affairs, are you able to recall what your intention had been the moment prior? I know that when I see a shocking headline pop up in my email, I might completely forget what message I'd been planning to search for. And it can even take me a few moments to remember and get back to what I had been intending to do. And then notice, does the story you're hearing have an impact on your attitude? And is that impact something that makes your experience of the present moment, where your body is, more positive or negative? I find that there are certain people that when I talk to them, they are so wrapped up in their anxiety about the news or about their personal relationship or their job or all of the above, and they are so insistent on sharing that anxiety with me that I often feel worse after speaking to them than I did before. Have any of you had that experience, right? Have any of you been the one giving that experience? We all do, sometimes. Now, let's note that when that happens, when I notice that I'm feeling worse after talking to someone than I did before, it's because I let myself get sucked into the story they were telling. And I'm grateful to be aware that when this happens, I have choices about how I choose to engage. And maybe in the future, I might limit how often I talk to them if they're really stuck in acting that way, or maybe I'll choose to show up in a new way so I can help them have a different experience. Maybe I'm just more mindful about not letting their emotions get to me. Or maybe I make time after I find myself off balance to go practice some self-soothing, let it all go, and bring myself back to a positive attitude before I then go continue my day. If I'm aware of the shifts in my state of mind, then I have choices. So luckily, if we find that we don't like where our attention, intention, and attitude are leading us, all we have to do is change our mind, and we will begin having a different embodied experience. And it does take some practice. And to use a Minnesotan metaphor, since I drove down from St. Paul, sometimes it can feel like trying to get a truck out of a snowy ditch in a blizzard, trying to get your mind out of that rut that it fell into that's giving you this unpleasant experience, right? But the more we can bring our awareness to the state of our mind, the more empowered we become to affect positive change in our own experience and the experience we're giving others of us. So this becomes important when we want to take responsibility for the experience that we are giving other people. What stories do we choose to share with the people around us? How do we choose to share those stories? What is our purpose in sharing that story with that person? So we can check in with ourselves. Where is our attention when we're telling a story? Is it on our self-expression and getting our emotions out? Or is our attention on the other person and noticing how they're responding to our words? Is our intention to help others cultivate peace in their hearts? Or is it to stir them up and bring them over to our side, wanting them to agree with our own interpretation of the experience we're describing? And what is our attitude when we share a story? Are we relaxed and open? Are we small and afraid? Are we angry and victimized? Are we playful? Are we holding love at the center when we're sharing a story? We often don't realize the power we have just by walking into a room. We don't always acknowledge that our very presence changes everything in the room, whether we want it to or not. In every moment, we are crafting an experience of ourselves, and we can be intentional about it by noticing the state of our mind, our attention, intention, and attitude. And whether we want to or not, the simple act of walking into that room changes the state of the room by how we're showing up in it. And so we get to determine what kind of change we bring by demonstrating what kind of presence we cultivate. So as we close, I'll invite us, at least for today, to cultivate peace in the heart so we might experience the true power of relaxation and show up for one another, embodying our full birthright of connection, wisdom, and joy. May it be so. Let's go ahead and rise in body or spirit to join in singing As Tranquil Streams.
As tranquil streams that meet and merge and flow as one to seek the sea. Our kindred hearts and minds unite to build a church that shall be free. The bonds that bind the mind to narrow thought and lifeless creed, free from a social code that fails to serve the cause of human need. When that nears the past, but trust the dawning future more, and bids the soul in search of truth adventure boldly and explore. Prophetic church, the future way to liberating ministry. Go forward in the power of love, proclaim the truth that makes us free.
We release this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And in closing, changes abound. Around us, within us, between us, in our lives, in this congregation, in our country, and in our globalized world. Changes abound. May we each find ways to relax and connect to one another as we move through our ever-changing world, finding the balance between the old and the new, between the known and the unknown, between the familiar and the perhaps bold and risky possibilities that may be there waiting.